Welcome back to the program. Let's bring in now former Speaker of the House of Reps. He's the member for Fisher, Andrew Wallace. Andrew, thanks for your time. The ongoing conflict in the Middle East, there's a lot of uncertainty, but a sense of hope among the diaspora in Australia and around the world.
Yeah, I think that's right. We've seen from New York to cities in Europe and also in Australia where Iranian diaspora dancing in the streets. It's pretty rare that we see a situation where people are dancing in the streets where the US and or Israel has attacked their own home countries. And that really goes to the point of just how much of a bad person the Ayatollah Khamenei was, where the Iranians across the world are celebrating in his death.
And the Iranian Revolutionary Guard listed as a terror organisation in Australia.
Well, it's actually listed as a state sponsor of terrorism rather than a terrorist organisation.
Okay. But a state sponsor of terrorism. Yeah. Do those who are mourning the Ayatollah, not we're talking about a few mosques in Sydney and Melbourne, not all of them by any stretch of the imagination, but some Shia mosques, do they risk falling foul of the law?
Well, I wouldn't want to suggest one way or the other, but if you're asking me as a lawyer with pretty good knowledge of this area of law, I think it would fall under that area that it's awful but not unlawful. So you're uncomfortable with the notion that some mosques are mourning that person? Yeah, look, I think it's terrible. I mean, this is a person who has not just killed somewhere between 30 and 50,000 Iranians.
His own people.
Of his own people, but has exported terror across the world. He was, in fact, the whole...
That number you used is only the last year. We're
Absolutely.
That's a sort of conservative number.
Not even that. That's in the last couple of months.
He would have killed hundreds of thousands
of Iranians, but then was he was the principal funder and architect of the attacks on the 7th of October in Israel.
What do you say to those who are... Indeed, so you go back to that point, and what about the argument then from the Greens and some others who are saying this is in breach of international law, the way these strikes have been carried out?
I mean, I fundamentally reject that because under international law, a country has the right to defend itself. And this is a gentleman who unapologetically was trying to resurrect and rebuild their nuclear weapons arsenal, their ability to be able to deliver. We know they had the ability to deliver nuclear weapons because they have a very mature ICBM program, intercontinental ballistic missile program, but they also obviously have been working on their nuclear weapons program. So you put the two of them together. Countries like Iran, like Israel, were directly at threat, and even the United States, continental Europe was at risk. Countries like the United States have taken, and Israel had taken a principled approach, and that is to remove the threat. And that's not contrary to international law.
On the ISIS brides question, your Liberal leader today introducing legislation to toughen the laws around those that might assist a cohort like the ISIS brides from returning to Australia. Do you, well, first of all, as a lawyer, are you satisfied the safeguards are strong in there not to catch up people inadvertently? And secondly, will the government back it?
Well, clearly the government will not back it. I was in meetings just very recently, but I didn't get to hear the response from Tony Burke. But clearly the government will not back these laws. But the issue, I think, comes down to I'm someone who believes in using the arsenal of, if you pardon the pun, of laws that we currently have. We have in existence temporary exclusion orders. Now, Tony Burke has got a lot to answer for on the issue of the ISIS brides, because Tony Burke has only issued one temporary exclusion order for all of this cohort. Now, he says, well...
That's based on, he says, based on security advice.
Yeah, but the problem is, though, this is the problem with his argument. Under Section 10 of the Temporary Exclusion Orders Act, he himself has the ability to issue the temporary exclusion orders if he believes on reasonable grounds certain preconditions have been satisfied, which, in my view, they have. At least one of the preconditions have been satisfied. He never talks about that. He always says, oh, I've only received advice from ASIO in relation to one. But never does he talk about the ability for him to issue the temporary exclusion order himself. Okay. And that is something that he needs to be called to account on.
Andrew Wallace, thank you for your time as always.
Thanks.
See you next week.
Authorised by Andrew Wallace, LNP, Boccarina, Queensland.